Greetings YouTube, welcome back to the Maiden channel. I am Marcus, bringing you another video for Cardfight Vanguard Overdress. In this video, of course, we will be going through the fashion icon, Kentucky Fried Chicken, Phoenix Dragon, Overdressing Dragon himself, Nirvana. Of course, in DBT03, not really much has been changed, but then the overall consistency in you getting the Overdress unit kind of increases by a lot. Let's take a look at that. First off, we have Deflection Pulse Dragon. Although when this unit is put on Guardian Circle, if you have a grade 0 rearguard, this unit gets 5k shield until the end of that battle. Now, of course, the grade 0 rearguard here is almost certainly going to be your Trickstar, because your Trickstar is basically the only grade 0 rearguard that you would want to play at 4 piece in a Nirvana deck because of the whole overdress mechanic. Deflection Pulse Dragon, of course, is going to be a 10k shield by you having Trickstar on the rearguard. And since Trickstar is unable to get retired by any skill, and most likely he's going to be at the back row, this card is most definitely going to be 10k shield most of the time. And also it does gives meaning to why you would want to play Trickstar on the field instead of immediately overdressing your overdress unit on top of Trickstar. However, there are too many great ones or other units that is just provided a lot of value other than this card giving in only a 10k shield value. It's not really the great, but of course, if you do want to run this card, yeah, feel free to do so. Next up, we have Blaze Fist Monk Tenji. Auto rearguard circle. When your rearguard is placed, if it was an overdress, you may draw a card. If you drew, choose a card from your hand and discard it. Every time you overdress on top of a unit, for example, a Vairina on top of Trickstar, you're able to draw a card and then choose a card to discard. This does helps you exchange some of the lesser valued card in your hand. For example, if you have a lot of Trickstar in your hand, you could basically just throw it out and draw more cards that is more beneficial for whatever situation you're in. And of course, this is not once per turn, meaning that if you keep overdressing units, you can just keep drawing and discarding like no tomorrow. However, there is actually another card that is a power creep version of this card, which we will talk about later. Next, we have Flare Scourge Dragon. Auto rearguard circle. When your rearguard is placed, if it's overdressed, this unit gets 5k power until the end of turn. No once per turn means that the more you overdress your units, the more power he's gonna get. I mean, that is really obvious. However, this unit is not really great as compared to some of the overdress unit, for example, Valiente or Exspecta in the set, because most of them does have power more than this card already. So why would you want to sacrifice some of your overdress unit for this card? Makes sense, right? Next is, of course, the power creep version of that Blaze Fist Monk Tenji. Player of Resonating Wishes. You would need to play Counterblast 1 in order to play this card. Choose one of your Vanguard, and until the end of that turn, the Vanguard will get, when your rearguard is placed, if it was an overdress, draw a card and this unit plus 5k until the end of turn. Now, of course, this is similar to Tenji. This is a little bit different, is where you don't discard a card after you overdress a unit. So that card is permanently +1 to your hand. So every time you overdress a unit, there's no minus. And of course, does maintain the hand size. And not only that, you're able to power up Nirvana himself. Of course, we all know how disgusting Nirvana's power is. And this card just managed to give even more power to Nirvana himself. Now, usually Nirvana is going to be the weakest attacking column because most of your overdress unit are just having dumb numbers for attacking. So I would say this card is the absolute must pick for your Nirvana deck. It's just too good. And what's more, it's a common. Next, of course, we have the grade 2 Blaze Stick Monk Shakune. Auto rearguard circle. When your grade 0 rearguards attack, cast Counterblast 1 and retire this unit. The unit that attack gets 10k power until the end of that battle. Now, of course, this is going to power up your Trickstar attacking column, which will then slightly power creep the Elgar multi-attack combo, because by having Elgar in the hand, you will want to attack with Trickstar first, and Trickstar, of course, is gonna just be a 5k. You're gonna have to manage your resource quite a bit because, of course, Vairina's deck uses a lot of counterblast. And of course, I do recommend you attack with Shakune first before you attack with your Trickstar, because it does not says this unit has to be at stand in order to pay for the cost. So what this basically means that you would want to attack Shakune first to get the maximum value out of his old skill. Next up, of course, Blaze Maiden Tressa. Auto rearguard circle. When this unit attack hits, Counterblast 1, choose a card with or the overdress ability from your drop and put it into your hand. Now, basically, this is a card that recycles whatever overdress unit that is in your drop zone back to your hand. The high priority overdress target that you will want to place from the drop zone to your hand is either Elgar, obviously, as well as Arcus, because both of these cards does gives you some combo potential. And of course, this is not just limited to these two grade 2s. You're able to fetch back Valiente as well as Expecta for a next turn final push, for a next turn push for damage, because those two grade 3s Vairinas are gonna be your main deadly attacker. This card does increase the consistency. However, as we see from previous until now, the support card all costs 1 counterblast. Counterblast is going to be a very big issue. One thing to note here is that this card needs to attack kids. Next up, we have Blaze Fist Monk Gyoukou. Auto, when this card is discarded from your hand during your turn, if your Vanguard is Nirvana, cost Soul Blast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guard and retire it. Now, this, of course, without a doubt, going to be the prime discard target for Nirvana, because Nirvana does require you to discard a card to call back a Trickstar from the drop zone back to the rear guard circle. And one thing to note here is that if you are at grade 2, Reno, if I'm not mistaken, should you want to discard a hand to ride Nirvana from the right deck, you are able to discard this card, ride Nirvana, and therefore uses this card's skill, because at the time you want to resolve this unit's skill, your Vanguard is Nirvana already, so you can use this unit's skill when you are at grade 2. After you ride grade 3, this card is basically live most of the time. Retiring the rear guards is really nice, but the soul cost is a little bit heavy, because most of your soul resources are gonna get eaten up by Elgar, because Elgar costs 2 soul blasts for a counter charge and a multi attack. But despite of the heavy costs, these are all very solid option and should be considered running them, at least maybe 1 or 2. Next up, we have Dragritter Shihab, the double R. Auto, when this unit is placed on rearguard, this unit gets 5k power until the end of turn. Second skill, continuous rearguard circle. When you would ride from your right deck, you may ride with put this unit into your soul instead of choose a card from your hand and discard it. This is one of those cards that basically gives you soul resources, other than the double R from DBT03, where once every time you he is discarded from the hand, you can place him into the soul. Now, this one functions a little bit different, because he needs to be called out a turn before you write something, and not to mention he needs to survive until then, so technically you still discard 1. Every single time you call him, he's going to be an 11k. Potentially he could be a great attacker in the early game, or can be a great booster for the Vanguard. Overall, really nice. The power gain, although I say here whatever, but it does plays a significant role if you want to go like a more aggressive Vairina deck. Next up is Blaze Maiden Himena. Auto, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, cost counterblast 1, look at 7 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 1 card with the Overdress ability from among them, reveal it and put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. This card is your Overdress combo consistency unit. You're basically paying 1 counterblast to check the top 7 card for 1 card with the Overdress ability. It can be any Vairina. However, I think the higher priority Overdress unit should be either Elgar or Arcus once again, because these two just give so much value to you. Of course, you could still get Expecta or Valiente, but just note that they are not going to be as valued as Elgar or Arcus. And what's more, this card does filters out the deck. And of course, this unit does not really do anything after you call her out and use her skill. She's just basically just a dead rearguard already, other than being a booster. Next up, of course, we're gonna talk about the second final evolution of Vairina Exspecta. I mean, there's already a confirmed evolved form of Vairina in DBT04, so I can't really say it's a final form. Of course, Vairina Exspecta does have the Overdress ability, but then he can only Overdress on top of unit that is already in Overdress. This unit could not Overdress on top of Trickstar. This unit could not Overdress on top of any Vairina that does not has a Trickstar. Continuous rearguard circle. This unit gets the original power of all of its original dress, active on opponent's turn 2. Auto rearguard circle. When this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater, if this unit is in Overdress state, cost counterblast 1, and this unit gets 15k power and 1 critical until the end of that battle. At the end of that battle, put all of this unit's original dress into the drop. Overdress states ends if there is no original dress. Now, this is for sure is a upgraded version of Valiente. Both of them have on-hit pressure. Both of them gain power for every layer of original dress, and both of them does functions kind of like a endgame win con if you're able to attack hit, that is. However, Expecta needing to blast out all of its original dress does hurts a little bit. This means that for next turn, Expecta is basically doing nothing but being a 13k. It's not great, but still, it's the best final turn strategy to go for. Of course, what make Exspecta better than Valiente is the difference for the cost. For Valiente, you are required to counterblast one as well as discard one card to restand. Whereas Exspecta, he's gonna attack for 2 critical right off the bat without having to discard anything. You just need to counterblast one and basically soul blast every single original dress to the drop zone. Basically, Exspecta is force your opponent to either PG or die. I don't want. And I know some people does shit on this card a little bit too much, but I still feel this card is very, very pressuring, especially in the mid to late game. Yes, these attacks can be guarded by PG, but for how long? And if they guard most of your attacks with PG, there's a chance that they might not have enough counterblast to use for their own combo. So it's a win-win in your part. And that is all for this video. Do let me know down in the comment section on what do you think for the Vairina attack improvements for DBT03. Do like and subscribe if you like this video. And also do bring the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a video I upload. With that being said, I'll see you all on the field.